I'd like to welcome everyone to Steve Tees Off. And we have a special guest in the studio, Rob Houlding, who is I have no problem saying that we've never met, but you are a local legend here in the Vancouver golf community. You laugh about that, but you are. I don't want to say you've been around since Jesus was a baby, because that'll really but you have been around
quite a while.
One
of the things that is different is that I've stayed in one place. Most golf teachers move all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But I started in 1994 out at 8th Avenue at a little driving range down there by Peace Portal.
Okay.
And that would
I know the range.
Yeah, that was by accident actually. But
pull the mic. Don't be afraid to get that mic right in tight if you can. There.
Is
that
good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that was where it started. So that's 36
That's the year I moved out here from Winnipeg.
Yeah. I moved from Toronto in 1981, and I came out here, and there's no way I'm going back.
Well, why would you? This is God's country.
Yeah, especially now.
There's no question. There's no question. So, Rob, I want to start with, I should get into. I want to thank RiversideGolf.ca. They are the sponsor of this podcast. Without Ken Poirier and his crew, it would not be possible. Ken is a locally owned golf shop. We don't have many left like that. Mm-hmm. And he's a good friend. I've known him for a long time. I've known his father. They're good people down there. So RiversideGolf.ca, Ken Poirier and his team. But let's who's Rob Houlding? I ask you that question. I put that in to you. There's a lot of people in the Lower Mainland that when the name comes up, they may or may not know who you are. There's people of a certain age group know you, but talk a little bit about how you ended up in doing what you're doing. And you don't have to go into great detail.
That's fine. I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur, even since I was like a teenager. And I was involved in a partnership in a business when I was 19, 20 years old with a cleaning company called Service Master. We bought a franchise.
Heard of that.
And me and my partner. And he got into a little bit of trouble with pot back in the day and ended up going to jail for a couple of years.
Happens.
And so I started my own, sold that and started my own company up. And in the process of trying to get contracts to clean, I came across a franchise called Ponderosa Steakhouse.
I remember Ponderosa.
Okay, so Ponderosa Steakhouse was opening in Windsor, Ontario, and that's where I was at the time. And I was trying to convince them that I should be able to come in and help them clean their building at night and so on. And the guy's looking at me and says, what are you doing this for? You should come and work with us. This thing is going to go crazy. And it sounded pretty good, and steady salary and opportunity to grow. And so I did that. Mm-hmm. And a year later, I found myself as a general manager of one of the steakhouses. And then 5 years later, I was in their head office as a director of instruction and developing training programs and so on. And then eventually research and development. And so I ended up staying in the restaurant industry for about 17 years. Very hard on years, typically 70, 80 hours a week. And
the restaurant business is a bitch.
We were opening a restaurant a week for about a year and a half. We ended up with 155 restaurants. Mm-hmm. So I started when there was, I think it was number 3.
And they were huge.
They were huge. Yeah, I remember. And then we had a second division too, which I got involved in helping develop. And then I was a Frankfurters Pizzeria and Tavern thing. And they did about 40 restaurants, public company.
I went bankrupt in the restaurant business in Winnipeg.
Well, you're one of many.
Yeah, it was like I graduated from university, and my father owned a hotel, a bar, a drive-in, and a theater, and we decided that my partner and I were going to get into the restaurant business, and we're idiots. And
it could be very costly.
Yeah, it's an add a middle liquor. And it's horrid, and I don't know why my father had a beverage room in southern Manitoba that sat like 400 people in a steak pit, and it was like the weekends were nuts. like urinals would be ripped off the walls. There was fights and all kinds of shit. And like you go, okay, this is not glamorous. This isn't a glamorous, like, and I was like 13, 14 years old at
Right.
that time when all this was happening. He got rid of it when I turned 16 because he like was kind of going like, you don't, this is
It's not going to work out at all.
it's not going to work out well. But I went and, you know, my best friend and I went to school together, went to the University of Manitoba, graduated and went, well, what are we going to do now? Oh, let's try to open up a franchise. You know, take and bake pizza and a bunch of hot dog carts we bought in an Italian restaurant in the French part of Winnipeg. Really a lot of thought went into that. But you know what?
Yeah. It's a good experience. You learn from everything you do.
Exactly. So how did you end up from punt?
Good question.
Yeah.
So I got tired of it. I was, the last job I had was VP of operations for Red Robin. And
Okay.
I didn't want to work for salary. I wanted to be part owner. And we couldn't really come to an agreement on me buying into the company. And what I wanted to do is take it back to Ontario because I know that whole market, Montreal, Toronto, like the back of my hand for real estate and buildings. And it could open restaurants there, 350, 400 seat restaurants in Toronto and versus 113 or 130 seat restaurants out here.
Yeah.
And the kind of blew the owner's mind a little bit, but I actually had the experience to know how to do all that, like design and build and run the whole thing. But so I'm at a cocktail party and this guy said to me, you know, I've got this thing. I know you like golf. So would you be interested in running a golf course and having control of the operation and the restaurant and stuff? And I said, maybe. And tell me about it. And he said, well, it's a little 9-hole golf course out in White Rock area called Nickelwind. And I said, you know, right across the street from Gordon Poirier's old place, right? Yeah. So, I was very well paid at the time, and in my job, and this would be making a jump to no guarantees, nothing. Right? Mm-hmm. So, I went out and I looked at it, and it was a rat hole, and it was it looked like a good opportunity with my experience in hospitality. I could really ramp this thing up. And so I made a deal with them and I actually built a kitchen and put in the restaurant fixtures and so on. And I ran that for about 5 years. And during that period of time, compared to what I was used to doing, it was relatively simple. So I got to play golf 4 or 5 times a week, which is
on a nice little 9-hole golf course. Yeah,
but
pleasant to walk.
But I also bought a membership at Semiahmoo.
Okay, there you go. Which is a nice golf course.
Very nice. Yeah. So I went from probably being around a legitimate 10 handicap, 12 handicap, to about a +4, +5 handicap over a period of time. And I was doing really well at Nickelwind, and so well, in fact, that the owners wanted to buy it back. So that happened, and I ended up, okay, now what do I do? And a lot of people that I played golf with, and a lot of the people from Semiahmoo for someone, they were interested in getting lessons, and I started doing that, and I really enjoyed it. But I didn't know that I could make a good living at it. And from there, I realized that if I wanted to stay in this business, my passion is working with young people and helping them up, and anybody really I enjoy doing that with, but it's particularly kids that are highly motivated. I was like that when I was a child, and I, like a lot of golf professionals, didn't get the opportunity to get the exposure to the people that really knew what they were doing.
That's right.
And so you can really make a big difference quickly if you have a pretty good idea of, biomechanics and playing golf and the mental game. Anyway, we started in 1998. I believe it was the first high-performance golf program in Canada. So I had a personal trainer that was really well qualified.
What were you doing instead of?
This started on 8th Avenue.
Okay.
And that was 1998. That was after I had about 4 or 5 years of experience. And I realized that I got to get something going in the wintertime. So I did my trainer, myself, the psychologist, and another golf pro rented the theater in I think it's New Westminster. It's like the
Massey Theater?
yeah, it was a big theater.
Okay.
We invited about 300 people, and
Yep.
about 250 people showed up with their kids, and we put on a demonstration for a couple of hours. And when we left that night, 15 families had signed up for a full-time program, which was 3 times a week. So they would come and they would work on their golf swing, and they would come and work on their skills, basically. And then we would go to the gym, and then we'd sit down once a week with the psychologist and talk about the mental game. And some people, well, the youngest national champion ever in the country, Darren Wallace, was in that. His sister was in it. Most of these people ended up going to Division I schools.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it was unique because this is what parents were looking for, but they couldn't find it anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then I got a call from a guy on 24th Avenue, had a really nice range and a golf course going around the outside of it. It was under the hydro lines. It's now a Walmart. This is another interesting story. So he said, I'd like you to come up here and do this. And I said, well, if I come up there, can I do this and this and this? Which means put down carpet, make the place look professional, really dress it up so it's, it's something. And he said, absolutely. Yeah, no problem. And he didn't even want me to pay him. He just wanted the traffic from my lessons. And I said, no, that's not good. I'll pay you too. Let's get this thing going, and I'll make sure that you're super happy. So I ended up just up the street from Morgan Creek there, and I was doing between 100 and 105 half-hour lessons every week. And that was phenomenal. I actually had a guy inside who I was paying a couple $100 a week just to do the bookings and handle
What year was
traffic.
that? Around what time?
2000.
2000. Okay.
January 1st, 2000. Easy to remember.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the day I moved in.
Okay.
The guy down on 8th Avenue was really unhappy about that, but he was
So sorry.
he was not willing to. You're dealing with people that are affluent and they expect nice things and they want a nice facility and so on. And that's the way I do business. I do it right or I don't do it. And anyway, that's great. So I did that for about 2 years and had a lot of fun with it. And I always had the idea that I would want to see when I turned 50, which is in 2001. When I turned 50, I would go to qualifying school for the Champions Tour.
Okay.
So I started actually training 3 or 4 years before that, like going to the gym, doing all the right things. And so I did that. In the first year I missed the cut from going to the second stage by 1 shot. So I thought, well, that's not bad. I'd never played any competitive golf. I played a few tournaments as an amateur, but people thought I was absolutely nuts. But that's how I roll. I just, that really motivates you. You set a high goal and you work hard and you see progress. And anyway, it was a great experience. So I went back the next year to qualifying school in California, Southern California. The Champions Tour is the hardest tour to qualify for, they say.
Oh, it's worse now.
Yeah.
It's
well, you can't now.
You can't
They
now.
just dropped it. But back in the day, you would have about 5,000 applicants, and there were, let me think now. So, no, there were 550 applicants going for 15 spots. And the 550 applicants were spread out over 5 different sites for phase 1. And then you go into phase 2, and then there's a phase 3. So the second year I went, I made it right through the final phase, and I ended up 44th or 45th. Pretty respectable, but no card, no hunting license. But what happens if you're in the top 50 is that the Champions Tour at that time would give you what's called an associate membership. So you actually had a PGA card, and you could travel around the country and you could go into any TPC facility and show your card and you get treated like a king, which was nice. Yeah. And so you always had a place to practice as you were traveling around. But you had the opportunity to be a Monday qualifier, which is even harder than Q school.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you got you got way more guys.
You got about 100, 120 guys who've bucked up a couple $100 to go and see what they can shoot in one round. And it's do or die. You usually have to go 5-6 under on a course that you're not really familiar with. And they usually have 2 to 3 spots available. So you have a good burn rate on that. Travel expenses.
How long did you do that for?
year and a half.
Uh-huh.
And I also went to Europe and played, like tried to qualify for the British Senior, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a lot of fun. Met some great people. Hung out a lot in Houston area in Texas, and a place called the Woodlands. So
Okay.
I practically lived there for about 8 months with my wife, and
Yeah.
we had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
So then my last tournament was my second last tournament. Actually, was in Texas at the Texas Senior Open, and I led the tournament wire to wire. In the last few holes, I got too aggressive, gave a couple strokes back, ended up third in this thing. So it was really funny because this was planned to be my last tournament because they're just running out of money.
Yeah.
And I had a great, great experience with the whole thing. We had a trailer that we were traveling around in, and I came back to back to Vancouver, and went back to where I started and started teaching again. And the experience I gained doing all that traveling and trying to play at a high level was invaluable to helping, advanced juniors learn how to score, learn how to play, how to think, how to manage your course, and so on. And so it's just had a phenomenal amount of success. We had 12 national champions. Between then, we were 24 of my students.
So you were pretty much the only
on Team Canada
at that time. You were pretty much you were. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're taking like almost like a holistic approach to the golf game, as opposed to just going and saying, "Okay, do this, do this." No, it's all of this.
Yeah, exactly. It's back in that day, if you'll remember, in 2000. So I recall I was actually in Scotland at St. Andrews with a group of people, and Tiger Woods won. Mm-hmm. And if you look at Tiger wasn't the first person to really embellish fitness in golf. Faldo did that as well. There's others, but he really got into it. And if you looked at his body when he was 18 versus 24, there's a significant.
There's some going on there too.
Yeah. But that was the future. You could see it. And people were taking golf more seriously as golf athletes, which a lot of people still laugh at that. But these guys are generally like they're guys. Even the guys I played with on the senior tour, they're athletes, and they're football players, pro baseball players, hockey players. Yeah. They're athletes. They're strong.
That's right. They're strong.
So, that was the
impetus of the
impetus. So then, at one time, we opened up an indoor facility in around 2010. Yeah, around 2010. Opened up a place for the winter where all these great players could come and train through the winter. They had a gym upstairs, and we had 2 bays downstairs, and it was a pretty central location. It was pretty good. And that model worked really well. And then I expanded it. And it worked even better, and I started bringing in more teachers. Mm-hmm. And then I decided that I don't like paying rent, a lot of rent.
Who does?
So I took a jump and bought a building on Westminster Highway, and that was the former motorcycle dealer.
Yeah,
So that was about an 8,000 square foot facility, and we had 5 bays in it, 1 upstairs, 4 down. Huge putting green, beautiful gym upstairs, beautiful lounge for the families. It was just awesome. And parking too. Yeah. And that was super successful. For 6 years in a row, we were the #1 ranked academy in Canada for high performance. And that was based on player results. It's not based on opinions. It's just MJT, CJGA performance results. They had recognized all the academies. There's about 100 academies.
Your players were doing well.
Yeah, they were dominating the thing by quite a bit, actually. Mm-hmm. So then what happened was a guy came in one day and said, and like I'm getting older at this point, right? I've been at this quite a long time. And a guy came in and said, "I'd like to buy your building." And it was about 3.5x of what I paid for it in 6 years.
Yeah.
So I went to the guys and I said, "This is what's happened. If you want to stay, I'll build another facility. Or if you want to go on your own, that's cool." So they learned working with me how this works, how you can do very well at it if you do the right things. And 3 of them came with me, and 3 of them went on their own, and they're all doing great. And that was perfect. So I built another place, just a smaller version at Savage Creek, upstairs there. And it was great. I have a golf course, and I have an indoor, outdoor. So in the wintertime, we close the doors and we're indoors, and then I can open the bay doors and hit outside. And so it was really, really good. And I was just getting tired of working all the time and grinding. And I approached Nathan, and I said, "Nathan, you really need to think about expanding your operation." He's a very professional operator.
We're talking about Nathan Leonard now.
Yeah. Great player, great guy. He used to take lessons from me when he was a kid. So, I knew his personality quite well, and he'd done well. He'd won some awards and things. And I think that, anyway, we entered some talks and came to a nice agreement, and it's been fantastic. It was probably the smoothest, easiest transaction I've ever done in business with somebody. And he's grown well. He's doing well with the business.
Yes.
And I've supported that and tried to help him as well. And it's just a good story.
Yeah.
So now I teach about 5 to 10 hours a week. This time of year, I might only do 3 or 4 lessons because most of the players I teach are competitive golfers, and this is go time.
Yeah.
They're traveling.
Yeah.
For years, I traveled. I mean, I would go with families everywhere, all over the world. It's also hard on your family life.
Yeah. And
So,
down to San Diego.
so now I'm set, and things are good. And for the last year, I have been building quietly in the background another company. Really, there's 5 different businesses that are all integrated. It's like an ecosystem, but the main one is a coaching software that's never been done before, and in the whole industry, it's totally unique. It's called golfcoachos.com, and Golf Coach OS is a platform where everything is right in front of you. It integrates all of the technology, no matter what technology you use. This is the problem. And if you go to a high performance academy anywhere, there's a computer over there and a monitor for this piece of technology, and another computer over here. They don't talk to each other. And the poor coaches are, they're using spreadsheets and notes and all kinds of stuff that some of them using Coach Now. It doesn't have a brain. Like, if you think that's coaching, I think it's at one time it was a step forward, but today with the technology that we have, there's no reason to be doing that.
Well, golf is a game. It's much like baseball. It is like baseball is the epitome of a numbers game. Stats.
Yeah.
Stats, just raw stats. And golf is, it slowly evolved and worked towards that. And if you don't know, you're talking to a hack here. Yeah, I've been playing this game since I was 8 years old. Okay. The lessons I took were when I was 8 years old. I still managed to get around the course. And I know the one thing I always knew about the game, my father, the deal he did was, I grew up in Manitoba. We were in Winnipeg. I remember the golf pro's name. It was John Bloomberg Golf Course. If I showed up for all 10 or 12 lessons, I got a $200 credit at the clubhouse. And I was the only kid that showed up to all of them. And
you ate well.
But the thing is that it was good because sometimes I had him all to myself. And I still remember him saying, you got a good swing, you got a good feel. Just, and my father, it used to piss my father off because I became fairly good and he started late. But it was something that him and I could do together because he was a fisher and a hunter and he loved all that stuff. And I tried, but it wasn't for me. That it wasn't for me. But the statistical part of it, now you can, you can, and golf at that time, nobody was thinking, I should be going to the gym for this, or I should be going, if you're an athlete, you were an athlete. And where I grew up, pretty much every guy that I knew, like I grew up playing hockey, every guy that they played hockey, we played hardball, and we golfed. That's what we did. And there were some pretty good golfers that were pretty good hockey players. Just happened to be. You're an athlete. You're an athlete. You can do it. Okay. And but the game has evolved so much that there really is no excuse. Like I'll tell you this: if you want to become a better putter, okay, like for me, this is what when I moved out here, and I was a guy like a dumb prairie boy coming out here in the early '90s, putting super value bags over my golf shoes and going out to Swanee Set in a gale force wind in January. Whacking the ball around and doing that shit and going, this is, and then I'd phone my buddies back in Winnipeg, you sons of bitches, you can't golf, I'm golf, kind of, I was that into it. Like I really was. And I enjoyed it. I really did. But to get better, I remember I bought one of those beta cameras and I put it on the mantle of the fireplace and I putted in the basement on the carpet, and I got better. Into a cup. I was just doing that, and I'd look at that thing, and I go back, and I do it, and I do it for hours at night. Kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the thing is, it was amazing how much better a putter I became.
Gee.
Yeah, and I go, holy shit! Wow. What a
practice has a way of doing
exactly.
That,
you know what I mean? But like, I wasn't practicing stupid. I wasn't just going and what are you trying to do here? Okay, what are you trying to do? Okay, like. Your biggest problem is 5-6 foot putts. Okay, if you can make and so that I remember that golf season, I shaved like 7-8 strokes off my game.
Yep,
just by doing that.
Absolutely.
So, and now and then and golf is a game, and I think it was Stephen LeCure said this. It was great prairie boy saying. He said it's not a game that anybody plays to be worse at. It's nobody ever wants to go and say, you know what. I want to be worse today than I was yesterday. And he was so right. It's so true. It's a game where you want to get better. And I don't give a shit how old you are. You want to get better. You want to play better. There's always, that's
looking
why.
for those extra yards.
Exactly. You always are. You always are. And the one thing, I use my dad as an example. He like the guy, like he could play with 3 clubs. He had a chipper that he could hit 150. Okay. And he'd say, you got all those clubs in your bag. But the thing is that he'd go, Jesus Christ, you can pound the ball. But you double bogeyed that hole here. Or he'd walk by and I'd have a putt, because we were always playing for money, have a putt like this. And he, and at the time, $5 was a lot of money. $5 says you missed that as he walks by, that kind of shit.
Likes getting in your kitchen.
That's exactly, that was the kind of thing. You go, okay, like your short game's pretty good. I got it. Why don't you just like back off a little bit here and don't be stupid? Because, because there was a number of times he'd be playing with me and I'd be playing well. And then I would lose my shit on one hole and just be total gonzo,
right.
Pump 3 into the spillway and go and walk off the golf course, and go, okay, well, that was fun, and you start getting in your head. But the thing is that golf it's so much more than just that thing. It's being able to react. And the earlier you can realize that's a life skill too. It's not just a golf skill. The ability, like to be able to control how you react to things that are happening to you. That's not just golf. That's why I love golf.
Yeah,
is because golf is like, boy, man, things can be going really well, and then just total horse shit. Something stupid, it happens, and what do? That's life too.
Yeah,
something shitty happens.
You have to control how you react to
That's
situations.
Right. Exactly.
The there are skills that we teach kids to do that. The parents can't believe it. Like that, they're, you know, they really are clueless when it comes to how to raise a competitive golfer.
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard this, I'm sure, before, but most kids fear the ride home in the car.
Oh yeah.
And that goes across other sports as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know.
So what I say to parents is, look, step back, calm down, and ask yourself how what you just said will create improvement in their behavior. You know, because usually it's very critical, you're yelling, and I get it. Golf is expensive. It takes an awful lot of time for the family, a huge commitment, and especially today, because it's very, very competitive and it's very, very expensive. So they want to see results, and that's understandable. But you have to understand that these kids, their brain's still developing, their bodies are still developing, their experience is developing, and it's a long journey. It's a long road. And if you do things right and you're not too impatient, you'll see continual progress in the process of what they're doing.
But at the end of the day, the child, the kid, the junior, has to want to be there. They have to. The parent.
Yeah, the motivation, we call it intrinsic. They're intrinsically
Yeah.
motivated. But here's the thing: if you have the right environment, the right culture, with a kid, when you bring your kid to me, he may never have played golf in his life before, and I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to try and get a feeling for his things he likes to do. Perhaps, you know, what sports have you played? Do you swim? Do you play badminton? What do you do with your hands? What do you do with your feet? Do you play soccer? What do you like about it? I'm trying to get a read on this person. It could be 6 or 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that very first experience with a golf club in their hand is a lot of fun. It's about a lot of discovery, maybe gamify it a little bit, make it, you know,
Make it interesting.
Make it interesting so that they're engaged.
Yeah.
Now, when they leave, the parent's going to go, well, what'd you think? Well, that was fun. I would be up for going back next week and trying that again.
Yeah.
Now, the opposite of that is, you know, this kid's got no talent. I don't think parents sitting here telling you all the things that's wrong with this kid, and I don't know whether I don't know whether golf is right for him. The whole attitude is it's not good.
Yeah.
And then you have coaches who are maybe what we call red zone coaches who are a big ego trip, and they don't get it. Like they just, this kid is not going to be a good fit for that coach.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The coach has to be able today to adapt to the different ways that people operate and think, like what I call coaching in context. So you could have 2 7-year-olds, for example. One of them's been playing golf for 2 years competitively, and the other one is just starting. They're totally different. Mm-hmm. Right? If you have some experience, you can communicate at a different level with that kid than one that has no experience. Where do you start? So this is, but you know what good coaches are doing today is that they're doing more of an intake process where when you first come in, tell me about your background. What have you been? Where have you had lessons? What do you shoot? And try and get a profile of where this person is at today. Where do you want to go? What are your goals? And this is, you're exactly right. I'm not talking to the parent. I'm talking to the kid. I want it to come out of, now I'll ask them, I'll say, are you here because your dad wants you to be here? Or are you here because you want to be here? Regardless of their age.
Yeah.
And usually I'll hear that, no, I'm here because I want to be here. Cool. That's important.
That's important. Very important.
Very important.
Very important.
But I also talk to, I'm very careful. If you want to get into that competitive program, this is what it looks like. There's a large time commitment. And if you don't put in the time and you don't put in the time properly, you're going to fall behind. And there's just no way around that. So I outlined to the parents, this is how much this is going to cost. This is how much your equipment is going to cost. This is what your budget is going to look like. This is what your weekends are going to look like. And this is how much time you're basically going to have homework, school, homework, and golf. That will be your life for the next 10 years. If you really want to be and that Division I school, and you really want to do this. And that doesn't mean you can't have some fun and do some other things in the off season, but this is what your competition is doing. And these are the people you're competing against to get scholarships. These are the people you'll be competing against as amateur golfers in competition or professional golfers. And so I lay that out. And if the answer is still yes, all right, let's get started and see how this goes. And it's not rocket science. It's doing the right things at the right time with the person in front of you. Period.
I'm gonna ask you a question here about the game of golf. Has it become too expensive for young
Yes.
players?
Yeah. It always has been. It's always been considered a rich man's sport, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And there are some good people out there that have taken steps to try and reduce the cost. But my world is different, and my reference is different. My world. The whole focus is on developing the most competitive players for their age group in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's the deal. This is where you get the best of professional type instruction, and we'll do everything. Like these kids get treated like little mini tour players.
Mm-hmm.
We're bending their clubs for them. Mm-hmm. People are buying golf clubs, and the lie is 4 degrees more upright should be. The kid's making a great swing, and the ball's going out there and hooking left. Mm-hmm. So they try and change the golf swing. Dude, look at the lie angle on the freaking club. It's aiming left at address. Mm-hmm. Bend it for the kid. Now the kid can't hit it offline. Mm-hmm. This is the type of level of instruction that your kid is getting, right? But most people don't buy bending machines. Yeah. They don't look at all these things. It's going to change. As a kid goes from 7 to 8 or 8 to 9, their bodies are changing, their brain's developing, they're growing. There's things you can do as they're growing, and there's things that you shouldn't do as they're growing. There's things that you need to check on, like, you're 2 inches taller in the last 7 months. And what's that going to do to the lie angle in your club? Mm-hmm. Or do we need to lengthen the club? Or do we need to stiffen the shaft? This is what is happening with these kids nowadays that are competing.
The elite of the elite. That's what's happening.
Yeah. So that was kind of what we did. And parents were willing to support that because the kid is also getting a lot of self-esteem from it. They have a thing that they're really good at, and they get a lot of confidence from in their life. And like, just as you said earlier, they're learning life skills. It's a great, it's a great thing to be able to learn how to stay in the present.
Yes.
When you're playing golf.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, 1,000%.
So it's different. The way it worked for us was that we started all the local tours, for example. We would have, on an average, 15 to 20 kids out of the 100 that were in the tournament or 80 in the tournament were coming out of our academy, and they would generally win, or first, second, third, fourth, fifth kind of a thing. They'd always place really well. The ones that were in development, they would might be 15th or 16th or 20th, but then the parents start to see that last year this kid was shooting 85 and now they're shooting 75. How did that happen? That's the training, right? That's the experience that they're getting. So what happens is I'm going to the tournament, walking around, watching these players play on Sundays instead of taking the day off. And I'm running into people who are saying, oh, are you that coach, that guy? We've got kids out there that are, like I said, they're just performing so much better than they used to. What's different? And, rarely would I ever see another coach out there on the golf course watching what these kids are doing. And I don't know, what business are you in? We're in the business of long-term player development and competitive golfers. And you can't, if you're not watching what they do on the golf course, you're kidding yourself. Mm-hmm. You can do a much better job if you act like it's unbelievable, but they have great golf swings and they don't know how to score. You go and watch them play, and you can understand why they come back and say, I hit 7 greens in regulation, and I'm looking at them like, you're aiming 40 degrees right at the bloody target at address. Mm-hmm. Swing is fine, but you don't know how to aim. Your routine is not where it should be. So you see those things when you watch them play. You can't see that in a indoor facility or in a driving range mat where everything is already set up. And
What's too young to start?
there isn't such a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if seriously, I mean, I've seen people come at 3 years old. Can you look at my kid? And yeah, they're cute, and yeah, they've got a great little golf swing, but we can't really do anything yet. What you can do is keep doing what you're doing and make it fun, and let them whack the ball all over the place. When they get around 5, things start to change a little bit, especially with the girls. They develop a little bit faster. And again, your first priority there is to like what I do with a 5-year-old that hasn't got a lot of experience is I'll start on the putting green. I'll start about a foot away from the hole and teach them how to make the ball rattle a certain sound. It's developing speed, like trying to develop some sense of speed control. And then we go around the hole, we do that, and then we move back a little bit, maybe a couple of feet, do it again, a couple of feet more. And then we'll start, once they start to develop some sense of how hard to hit the ball, which is the first priority, is getting the distance control idea, then we gamify it. And we make little challenges. And then we introduce side hill lies and downhill lies and uphill lies. And this is, again, still on the putting green. Then we go to the edge of the green and we learn how to lag putt and get the ball in the hole in 2 putts. And when they can do that, we go off the green a little bit, chip it on. We play a game, chip it onto the green and try and get your par is 3 from anywhere off the green. Now, this is a little 6-year-old or 7-year-old.
Yep.
And you know what? You just shot 9 holes even par. Congratulations. Or you were even under par. Sort of thing. So this is all gradually building confidence and getting an idea of the game. Now, what do you think happens with these kids that learn short game first?
They can play.
They can score.
That's right.
They go out on the golf course and they know, oh, I already know how to do this.
Yeah.
So then we play from what I call age-appropriate tees. We'll go out on the golf course at 60 yards out, and this is a par 3.
Yeah.
And can you get the ball on the green? And if you don't get it on the green, can you
get up and down?
Can you get it up and down?
Yeah.
And they get into from a very early age, they understand this is a game of scoring. It's a scoring mindset that they have.
Yeah.
And that's one of the processes. And I know golf pros that think that's bullshit. You shouldn't, well, challenge me. Challenge my kids. Their IQ in golf is way higher because
what are the most formative years in, like, I can speak. I have one of my sons, he played at a very high level of hockey, and I introduced him into golfing when he was young too, because he golfs now. But the formative years I can tell for, like, I can speak to hockey. My daughter played fastball. She played up at SFU. She was a pitcher. The formative years, I can tell you what those years are, and where you start. You really gotta. It almost becomes more than a game. It's like the decisions have to be made, and I use my daughter as an example, where she loved to play center field because she could track a fly ball down, but she also wanted to pitch. And when she was about 13, 14 years old, her coaches came up to her and said, listen.
One or the other.
That's right.
Specialize.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And she said, I want to do both.
Yeah.
But it didn't, the thing is that, what am I getting? I'm it's the same with it's
same thing happened to me when I was a kid. I was very good in track and field, and I got on the Canadian Olympic development team when I was about 14. And they said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to be a decathlete." I had already Ontario records and everything, and they said, "No, you got to specialize," sort of thing. And looking back, those coaches were morons. They really shouldn't have been in that job. But today's sports science is a lot more advanced than it used to be.
Yeah.
The right thing there would have been to say, well, okay, let's train for those sports. Let's train and see what happens, and then you'll decide at a certain point.
But in that discipline, you have a strength in that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like not everybody is the best as a decathlete and
No, that's
everything.
Right. That's right.
Right?
That's right.
You're
It's just an all-round athlete.
exactly.
Right?
So
And so you don't have to win everything.
that's right.
You just have to know
Yeah.
you're stay in your lane and do really well there, but still have
That's
the
right.
fun of competing in
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
And so in golf, this is going to blow your mind, but the science says, and my experience supports this, the most critical window is between age 6 and 9 to develop the neurons that you're going to use later on for fast twitch and speed. People think that's crazy. You won't see it until they're older.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't develop it at 6 to
Interesting.
9, like if you ever looked on YouTube and watched some of these little kids do martial arts these days,
Oh, it's freaky. Yeah.
it is because we never would have thought of doing that.
That's right.
But when you see what these little kids are capable of in the right culture and in the right environment, I mean, please bring that kid to me to play golf. Mm-hmm. My God. They're so fast, so stable, so coordinated at that age for their stage. Don't tell me it can't be done. That's the attitude that I had with pushing people, but knowing when to push and when not to push. It's are you at your capacity right now physically? Yes, you are. Let's not work on hitting it farther. Let's work on hitting it straighter. Mm-hmm. If your speed is below your physical capacity, we work on getting that up, right? And it's the same with the mental aspect of it and the performance aspect of it. There's basically five domains in there that you pay attention to. So what we're doing with those kids is we're teaching them how to move fast and messy, not necessarily, we're not looking for perfect little golf swings at 7. What we're looking for is coordination and speed development and fun. Mm-hmm. And so you can have, when they're engaged and when you're challenging them and when they're falling over their ass because they've screwed up, and you laugh and you make it fun instead of, disciplining them, right? Get up and try it again. Let's go. And then you maybe even try and do it with them yourself so they can beat you every once in a while and they're having a blast. But what the science is that they're learning as they're playing. The science tells us that will accelerate the development of your neural pathways faster. So it's myelin development along the sheaths. So what happens is the dopamine, this is the part that people get confused on. When a kid experiences something that, where everybody's really excited and they're all clapping for him and he's maybe he's chipped it in from off the green and stuff like that, kid gets a high from that. That's a dopamine hit. What the dopamine hit does is it's the brain's reward system, but it motivates the person to try harder, to keep going and get that another buzz. It's almost like being addicted to a drug. You want more. Yeah. You want more of it. So knowing how to create an environment where a kid gets a lot of that accelerates their capacity to do things. It accelerates their speed. And the swing doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be repeatable.
Yes.
And so I tell the parents, this is going to change. This swing is not going to look like this in 7 years. It's going to be really good. They're going to have the ability to be competitive power-wise, right? Then we have to see what happens with their brain and with their course management and other things. But physically, it's not going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. So what happens now is I get kids, or recently, kids are coming, they're falling behind. Parents come, kids 12 years old, they can't hit it out of their shoes, and they're playing tournament golf. Well, what have you done? Nothing.
Yeah.
Play piano, iPad, computer games. You've heard this a million times. It's true. Like, they have not developed the underlying physical coordination that you need. Golf is very, very difficult, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
so
there's a million and one different things that can go wrong.
Yeah. So it's a lot of the things. I had one family quit. It's only happened, I think, 3 times in my career. But these grandparents were bringing these kids in because the parents were too lazy, I guess. And these kids were great. I mean, they could move it, and then we were having a lot of fun and doing my thing. And the grandparents decided, they're not here to have fun. They're here to work. And that was that. Off they went. And so they never went anywhere after that. but they don't get it. Like if it's fun, the kid wants to go to the golf lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have it's a parental thing, and one of the things that you have to fight off is to live vicariously through your child. A lot of and
Yeah.
I will admit there were times where, but then you get to a point where you got to step back, shut your pie hole, okay,
Yep.
and good teachers love good students. They love them. And I was I look at the minor sports. I was fortunate that I had some good teachers in like in baseball, like really taught me the fundamentals of baseball. And I love baseball. I golf. I've learned. I'm a guy that watches. Like for me, a big deal was when the GVO used to come in. I lived right across the street from Northview and Cloverdale. I go to the driving range. I could sit there all day and just watch. And that's how I learned as a kid. If somebody was good, I'd watch them and see how they did it and what they did. And that's how I learned. Like I was that kind of learner.
That's how most people learn. This is like, this is another thing about teaching children. If there's parents out there that watch your show and they're interested, stop talking and start demonstrating. Mm-hmm. And if I stand in front of a 7-year-old and say, okay, copy what I do, and I keep my mouth shut, and I start swinging back and forth, might be an alignment stick, could be a golf club, whatever I'm doing, and they'll watch you, and you can see their eyes are focused on you, and they start doing it, and they're doing the right thing. It's a motion-based golf swing that they're learning, movement-based golf swing. It's not a position-based golf swing that we're developing. Position, it's this absolute nonsense when you're dealing with kids. Positions, they don't. You can put somebody there, hold them there, force them in there. The brain is not learning how to coordinate and get there. It'll get there if you do the right things, and they'll learn how to react to change direction themselves. Mm-hmm. The brain will do that. That's the trick, is creating this environment where their brain is engaged and it's learning. Your job is to create this learning environment. It's not to teach golf. Yeah. And so that's the technique. A lot of coaches nowadays are catching on to this. It's not like the old days where you dig it out of the dirt. You still have to dig it out of the dirt. Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. You still have to put the time in.
Yes.
But how you put the time in is what the secret sauce is.
Well, I go back to the Ben Hogan saying, the funny thing about golf is the more I practice, the luckier I get. Yeah. And one of my, and this is a Achilles heel that I've always had in my life, is I never liked practicing. I love to play. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I would, if I was going to go hit balls, and where I grew up, we had a nice little 9-hole golf course. There was no such thing as a driving range where we were, in southern Manitoba. And we used to have shag our own balls, and so me and a buddy would go, and the sun would be good. Yeah. The sun would be
playing.
Yeah. And just,
competing.
Pound balls and hit it. And as you got closer to the first green, and, okay, let's see who can get closer here, that kind of thing. But I was fortunate, because I could do that. I could ride my bike up there. I could do, and this gets to the other things that I talk about a lot on this podcast is accessibility and the ability to be able to play. Yeah. That's so important. And we, sports, any sport, golf, any sport, it builds character. There's so many things that are positive that come out of sport, and when you make it inaccessible, you really you're selling every kid short. You really are, because I love it, because I like golf is the purest meritocracy. It really is. Like, there's so much shit that can go wrong, and the difference between good and great is that, okay? It's that extra gear, whatever that is. So to have aspirations to be like the best golfer in the world, okay, good on you. It's great to have a dream, but be realistic. Are you getting better? Are you getting better? And what's that path to getting better? And a lot of, and I know this. I know, what it's being a parent. I've played golf and with my son going down, and I won't name the golf course, and a young Asian child walking and playing around with his dad walking the side with an earpiece in, and the dad's chirping at the kid, who's a player. He can play. No fun for him.
No,
Like,
that's ridiculous.
And no fun for him.
I've seen it all, Steve. I've seen
I
parents
believe it.
screaming it from the sidewalk. It's again, I come back to the question: how is that helping?
Yeah. How is it helping?
And
it's really good when your kid
and
leaves.
by the way, do you play golf?
Yeah.
Have
Exactly.
you ever played in a tournament?
Yeah. Yes.
They have no idea.
They have no idea. That's exactly it. And it's usually a bad thing. I always say, if your child's leaving the golf course crying, that's not necessarily, that's a sign. Like it is kind of a sign,
I've seen it. You've seen it.
It's like,
the kid feels bad.
Yeah.
You don't need to make him feel worse.
that's right.
Exactly. He
Exactly.
wouldn't be crying if he didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what tools is that kid missing
Yeah.
that he's not performing as well as he might be able to?
Yeah.
That's the question to be asking. But you would do that even with my older players. Like I remember like Nick Taylor, or Adam, and those guys, they go and they play, and they might play around below their usual expectation. And I just give them a few hours or 24 hours and then ask the question, what happened? And rather than right, when they're at the scoring tent kind of a thing, let them,
Cool down.
let digest, like process what happened. And it's best to smile and look at the kid and make, they look at you and, well, how come you're not angry? Why aren't like, do you want me to, will it help you if I'm angry?
Yeah.
Is that what you need right now? Is that going to fix this chipping problem that you had?
Yeah.
No. So we need to address that.
Yeah.
You tell me what you think we should do.
Yeah.
And you talk to them like a little adult.
Mm-hmm.
You don't treat them like a little child. And guess what happens? they get more engaged.
Yes.
And they feel,
Yeah.
and it's hard. I know it's very hard being a parent. I have been a parent too.
Yeah.
But, and by the way, my kids don't play golf. They did.
Yeah.
Right. But they didn't have the temperament for it. But they also played like high level baseball and other sports they're really good at. My daughter played for the Renegades and
White Rock, right?
Yeah. And she was a catcher.
Yeah.
And good athlete. And yeah, they love baseball.
Yeah. Well, our grandkids, or one of our grandkids is up in Cranbrook playing in the provincials from there in the west side of Kelowna. It's a big deal. Like that's, and we only get to, if we're not there, we get to watch, because you can watch it. We can pick it up on the internet and watch it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm horrible. Like I'm the guy that, when my daughter played ball, I was out in center field by myself. Like, because I just can't take it. Like I can't take fundamental errors in ball. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't.
That's the thing about team sports that one thing I liked about golf is that it's on you. I was, as an athlete, if you're going to do this, try and do it to the best of your ability. Not everybody on the team looks at it that way. They're out there for social experience and they have different reasons for being out there.
Yeah.
And, I'd be the first guy at the ballpark waiting for the game to start, warming up, and I'd be the last guy to leave all the time. Yeah. And then you get the picture. They're not really very serious. So I found golf more rewarding that way. Like you can get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
And often in golf, you're putting a lot more into it than you're getting out of it.
Yes.
And you don't know why. But I can tell you that at a certain level, everyone's looking at the golf swing, and that's not the place to look. It's the between the ears part that makes the difference for performance. Mm-hmm. I went through a streak where I was shooting anywhere from about 70 to 74 a lot as a pro, which is no good. And it's
No,
that's
you're
no
not
good.
Yeah.
The funny part was that all the skills were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
The distance was exceptionally good. And I just couldn't figure it out. So I hired a psychologist and psychiatrist. Is a dual from Washington named Dr. Ralph Vernecchia. And he actually trains the badasses in Tacoma military base and at West Point military. He's the guy that helps snipers focus and things like that. Not really a golf expert, but an expert in human performance and behavior. So I went to his house, talked for a couple of hours. We went to the golf course and played. And after about 4 holes, I hadn't missed a shot. He came up to me and said, I think I know the problem. And I said, what? He said, you're too focused on being focused. I said, what? I don't understand. It's not what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just not the way you're doing it. He did this at a point where I just bombed this drive, center cut. I have about 65 yards left to the middle of the green on this par 4 at Bellingham North. And I hit it at the stick, and it ended up about 18 feet past the hole. And that's when he stopped me. He said, that wasn't very good, was it? And I said, no, not really. He said, where did you see the ball landing on the green? I thought, I didn't. I knew I was 65 yards. I put a 65-yard swing. I aimed right at the stick, and I swung and tried to hit it 65 yards. Exactly, he says. Drop some balls down.
Yeah.
This is when the dime dropped.
Yeah.
If, he said, the ball landed on the green in the right place and went in the hole, where exactly would you have to land it? And I looked at him like he was from Mars. I said, you don't understand golf. Am I supposed to think about canning this shot from 65 yards out? And he looked at me like I was the dumbest person he'd ever met in his life and said, why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. He drew an analogy about his military training with people, like if you're shooting at somebody in the middle of a crowd. Okay, so I still didn't quite understand it, but I put some balls down. He says, describe to me if you hit the shot perfectly where it should land. I said it would land 4 paces on the green, 3 paces from the left side of the green. It would check, bounce, stop by the hole or go in the hole. He says, perfect. Can you hit the shot? So I can try. So what do you think happens? I go from this robotic 65-yard swing. Now I'm making practice swings, trying to feel exactly how to land it where we agreed that it should land. And I hit the shot, and it ended up much closer to the hole. And tried again, and each time I did it, it got closer to the hole, got better. Still didn't understand where he was going with this. I honestly, I didn't really quite get it yet. And I'll fast forward a few more holes, and it's par 5, downhill dog leg left. I like to hit power fade. So he said, can you do it? And I said, yeah, I can try. I know how to do it. So I did it, and it was a good shot, but it rolled off the fairway. And the first cut, downhill lie, 206 yards from a front pin on an elevated green. So I got a 6-iron in my hand. He says, what are you going to do? And I said, well, if I hit this at the stick and land it on the green, it's going straight off the back. It'll go 100 feet past the hole. So I'm going to lay up beside the green and then chip it from there. So, okay, good. So I do that. I go down there. The green is elevated, and the green drops back down. I can only see the top half of the flag. He said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to hit a flop shot. I'll throw it up in the air, land it on the downslope, and hope to get it around the hole and make a birdie. Mm-hmm. And that's when he looked at me like I was the stupidest person he'd ever seen in his life. He said, you still don't understand. Come with me. We walk up on the green. We walk down the hill behind the flag. Rob, where would the ball land on the green if it went in the hole? I said, oh, geez. Okay. So I'm looking at this thing like it's a putt now, and it would need to land right there. If I was putting it from the edge of the green, it would need to land right about there. Can you hit the shot? Yeah, I think I can hit the shot. So same process. All of a sudden, I'm making 4 or 5 practice swings, feeling the bounce, got the face open, really intent on landing the ball at a very specific spot. I hit the shot. It landed very close to exactly where it was supposed to land. Ball rolls down, goes in for 3. The hair stood up on the back of my neck.
Got it. Yeah.
I was not giving myself a chance to score. ability and skill was way higher than my performance was, because I wasn't thinking properly. I wasn't doing all the things that you can do to get more in the zone and get more plugged in to your intention is much clearer. So there's less confusion in your brain. Your ability to execute becomes much better. And guess what? It starts to become fun.
Yeah.
This is freaking fun, man. I'm going like 6 deep, 8 deep now instead of, what are you going to do today? Then, the usual thing, well, every time you go out, you want to shoot your best every round. It doesn't happen that way normally. But all of a sudden, my scoring average was like 68. Par was 68 now. Par wasn't 70 or 72. Yeah. It's way better. And sometimes it goes lower, depending on how well you're putting, right? Generally.
Yeah, learning experience.
Yeah. So this is the power of the mental game. Yeah. And I tell stories to people about player A and player B. We're both the same size. We both hit the ball the same distance, exactly the same distance. But one player A thinks differently than player B. Player B is the one that stood down there and hit the flop shot up in the air and ended up 7 feet on the wrong side of the hole and 3-putted for a bogey. And player A is the guy is the guy that did the process. Yeah. And that guy is going off the green talking to himself, and he's angry and upset.
Yeah.
And the other guy is going, man, I can really go low today.
Yeah.
So it becomes very mental, and that's part of the training. This is one of the differences between training elite players and hackers, I guess you could say, is that when you're not there to hit golf balls one after the other at the driving range. You're there to refine your routine. No one makes the same golf swing twice. Mm-hmm. Really good players come very close to doing that physically. Like we measure that. We know how to measure all those things. But the fact is that every time you hit a golf shot, your brain is assembling the operating system to execute it. Yeah. So the clearer the picture you have, the more clarity your brain has, the more experience it has. Yeah, I know how to hit that shot. I know how to hit that butter cut, or I know how to hit that little draw. I've done this before. My brain knows the feeling. This is how hard I need to swing. It's the more you envision what you want to do and the deeper you get with that, the more your brain will help you execute it. And if you don't have that kind of clarity, you're basically guessing and taking whatever comes along. And
on that note, Rob, we've been talking for just about an hour. You talked about a little bit about your new company, what you're doing. If somebody wanted to reach out to you.
Golf Coach OS is an operating system. golfcoachos.com.
Okay.
You can do that, or robholdinggolf.com is my personal site, which also has information on it about everything.
Are you a social media guy?
A little bit. I have for 10 or 12 years, I've been pretty well known on Facebook. I don't do Instagram a lot, but I'm starting to do it more because of the new company.
Yep.
I should do that more. I'd love to find somebody that could help me with the Instagram thing. I'm pretty good with the Facebook thing, but
you got somebody.
Yeah. So that I need help there.
Okay.
The website is when you go in the website, you will see a golf academy side, you'll see a golf coach side, and you'll see a player side. So depending on you will ask you who you are and what are you here, and you click on this if you're a golf academy, and it'll take you into the golf academy section and show you all the things that it can do, and the same in the other area. It's really cool. Yesterday, it was the first day actually where I started doing sales calls on video. 5 academies signed up. One in Europe, one in Hawaii, one in California, and one in Ohio, another one in Chicago.
Okay.
And it's going to go. It's going to go pretty good, if you will.
Well, Rob, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank once again Ken Poirier and RiversideGolf.ca for sponsoring this, making it possible. Rob, it's been a real pleasure meeting you, talking to you about golf. And all, like I said to you before, when in our communication back and forth, my idea is to promote the game. I think we need. I want to see more successful golfers come out of not just British Columbia but Canada. I think we're
We're doing a great job.
yeah.
Like our kids go down the states to compete and they kick butt.
Yeah, and I
So
yeah,
you know, we all put our pants on the same way.
yeah,
And just because it's the United States doesn't mean it's better or bigger.
that's right.
It's
So Rob, on that note, thank you, buddy.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you.